Very good morning to all of you. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. Yeah? Great. In the previous session, we talked about marketing 1.0, marketing 2.0 and marketing 3.0, in which we understood how the various trends of marketing transformed from one era to another era. When we spoke about 1.0, we talked more about the production era, because there we were more concerned about the production and productivity, how the product should look like, how the attributes should look like. So that was the main emphasis on that particular era. When we reached to marketing 2.0 era, that was more towards the branding and consumer era, right? In that particular era, we understood that how important are the brands for us, though production was equally important to us, but we emphasized more on branding, brand identity, brand personality, right? So all these things we spoke about. Then in marketing 2.0 era only, we also talked about the consumer orientation, that how consumer oriented era has been introduced from the past traditional era of marketing to new modern era of marketing. So in that perspective, we understood the importance of branding and consumer separately, right? Now the last but not the least, or existing era, which we talked about, is marketing 3.0. And this is the existing era, which is marketing 3.0 era, in which we are more talking about the value-based models. When we are talking about value-based models, we are talking about all 4 P's of marketing. We are talking about marketing mix model, we are talking about the value-based models that has to be incorporated nationally as well as globally. So in this particular era, we talked more about the value-based marketing practices. We are talking about the CRM, we are talking about the quality-based marketing, we are talking about consumer relationship management. So all these perspectives, we are emphasizing more on marketing 3.0. So this was the description about these 3. Now, I would like to take you to the consumer behavior today, because we have already spoke so much about the marketing trends. Now today we are going to talk about the latest consumer behavior trends. So in that particular chapter, we can divide this particular module in 4 basic dimensions of consumer behavior. The first dimension is consumer behavior introduction. That is the first which we are going to talk about. The second important dimension is consumer as an individual, that how consumer as an individual behaves. We are talking about the consumer perception, we are talking about consumer personality, we are talking about consumer attitude and behavior. So this we are going to talk about under consumer as an individual. That is the second dimension of consumer behavior. Now the third dimension, which is very important for us to understand under consumer behavior, is consumer as a decision maker. Because at the end of the day, we want our consumers to buy the products. If they are not going to buy the product, the objective will not be achieved as a company, as a brand. So it is very important for us to understand consumer as a decision maker, that what different steps consumer follow when they get into the process of decision making. It may be a purchase decision, it may be a rejection decision also. So whatever the decision is, there are certain steps to be followed by consumers. Last but not the least dimension of consumer behavior is consumer in a cultural and cross-cultural settings. You know, I spoke to you about the globalization, I spoke to you about the localization, I also spoke to you about glocalization, that is go local. And we talked about Subways and McD's, that has become the favorite brands across the globe. And they are also getting into the cross-cultural dimensions of the consumer. Their expectations and needs have been taken care of by these particular brands. That's why they have become the favorite brands across the globe. So localization, globalization and glocalization, that is go local. So today's era, when we talk about the consumer behavior era or marketing era, it is the glocalization era, where we have to get into the needs of the and expectations of the customer, try to understand their demographics, try to understand their cultural barriers and linguistic barriers, and accordingly we have to enter into that respective markets to meet their expectations and to reach to the highest level of customer satisfaction. So that is the basic objective of glocalization strategy, and that was the last step of this particular consumer behavior. Now today we are going to talk about introduction to consumer behavior. You know, when we talk about consumer behavior, there are 2 different connotations within the same terminology. One is consumer and second is behavior. So we'll try to understand consumer separately and behavior separately. In the past definitions and connotations, when we talk about consumer, all the brands are talking about consumer in one way and with one philosophy, that is, consumer is a king. And I'm happy to share with you that across the globe, in all the MNCs today, whether local organizations or global organizations, they are following a very good definition which has been quoted by our father of nation, Mahatma Gandhi ji, and he has projected a beautiful description of consumer, in that particular definition. And let us, talk about that definition, because I want you to understand each and every terminology of that particular definition. Let me read it for you and we'll understand together. Customer is the most important visitor on our premises. He is not dependent upon us, we are dependent upon him. He is not interruption on work, he is the purpose of it. He is not an outsider to a business, he is a part of it. We are not doing him a favor by serving him. He is doing us a favor by giving us the opportunity to do it. And this is quoted by our Mahatma Gandhi ji, father of nation. And this definition of consumer, this projection of consumer is followed by every value-based organization today. When we're talking about marketing 3.0, I think this is the perfect definition which fits into the principle of marketing 3.0, where we are going to talk about the value addition to be given to customer, the value, the regard, the dignity of the customer need to be maintained. And I think this is the best definition to be projected with. And when I spoke to you about different marketing eras or consumer behavior eras, let me share with you one of the book by Dr. Philip Kotler and Scott M. Davis. And they have spoken about the 5 shifts of marketing, first, second, third, fourth, fifth. And they're showing that how various traditional trends have been changed era by era and finally understood the needs and expectations of the consumer and made a place in their hearts and thoughts. Right? So this is a wonderful book, The Shift by Scott M. Davis, and Dr. Philip Kotler also contributed for this particular book. So I suggest you to go through this book for more understanding of consumer behavior. Now I'll take you to the consumer behavior, how it is an interdisciplinary area, And for your information, before 1960s, consumer behavior as a separate discipline was not evolved separately, right? It was merged with marketing only. So before 1960, we were only talking about marketing, and consumer behavior was a small aspect of marketing which was studied by organizations or brands, by multinational organizations or local organizations. But after 1960s, right, this terminology, consumer behavior, has been taken as a separate discipline, because the marketers found that they thought the need of consumer behavior is very important to be understood. They thought that until we'll not get into the minds of consumers, we'll not understand their perspective, what are their expectations, what are their drives, right? They'll not be able to buy our products at all, because a lot of competition came up after 1960. So that's why it was very important for marketers to understand consumer behavior as a separate discipline. So after 1960s, you might have seen that consumer behavior was evolved as a separate discipline. But again, consumer behavior alone or individually will not resolve a purpose, right? There are so many disciplines which are associated with consumer behavior. For example, I need to understand a consumer, right? So it is not possible for me to just study consumer behavior alone as a discipline. There are 5 important interdisciplinary subjects or areas or specializations that contributed in the study of consumer behavior. Today you see whatever researches are going on in the area of consumer behavior, they are linked and aligned to some other areas, interdisciplinary areas, which are contributing in the study of consumer behavior. I'll take you to the different interdisciplinary areas one by one. The first is psychology. Psychology of customer is very different. You'll find Indian consumers, they are very different from Japanese consumers. And Japanese consumers, they are very different from Gulf consumers. And we might have seen, recently we have seen the case of Air India, right, which was flying from Melbourne to Delhi, Melbourne to India. And finally, one of the consumer, he was overdrunk in the flight, and finally the crew members and the staff members on the flight, they tied him with a rope, with a chair. And finally, he was tied up throughout the flight and throughout his journey from Melbourne to India. So there was a lot of embarrassment on the part of customer. But as I told you, customer is the king, right? So in that way, there are so many questions raising up, and while investigations are going on in the area of this particular situation, and there are many questions raised on the Air India's security and safety measures also. Are their staff not competent enough to handle with such kind of situation? Why extra and over drinks were served during the flight? So all these questions are, have been taken care of during the investigation. But we have seen that the consumers, they behave differently in a different way or different situations. And I think there are many Human Rights Commission also inquired about the mental health of that particular customer at that point of time. Why he behaved in that particular manner. Was there some psychological or mental issue with that particular person? So there are so many questions popping up, right from the side of consumer and other side to the Air India also, right? As I shared that safety and security has been questioned of Air India. The first is psychology. That is the first interdisciplinary area which contributes in the area of consumer behavior. Now let us take to the second area, which is sociology. Whenever you're going to be a global brand, it is not possible for you to spend too much time on one particular individual. Then you go for group studies, then you go for cultural studies. So in that way your sociology will help you, because one particular group behaves in a similar way. You will find the differences also, but most of the time you will find the similarities in their taste and temperament, in their purchasing power, in their behaviors, in their attitudes, in their demographics. So all these things will be taken care of under sociology study. Now third one is social psychology. Again, as I told, that social study is very important. You are not going to read one particular consumer, you are going to study the whole market demographics, right? So social psychology will be the study of how an individual operates in a group and its effects on buying behavior, because ultimately all these studies contribute to the buying behavior, that how a particular market consumer, how they respond and react to a particular object or to a brand or to a product. So all these things will be clear from your social psychology studies. Now let me take you to the fourth interdisciplinary area, that is anthropology, is the study of cultures. As I shared with you, Japanese have a very different purchasing power than Indians or Americans. So in that case, your anthropological studies will be very helpful to understand the consumer behavior of one particular nation, of one particular globe, of one particular community, or of one particular religion, right? So anthropology. The last but not the least interdisciplinary area will be economics. As I told you, again economics, when we say economics, we are talking about the income and purchasing power of the customer. It differs, right? As Dr. Prahlad, he has done a wonderful study on the bottom of pyramid approach, where he said that 77% of the people belong to bottom line. And there it is very important for the companies to focus and emphasize on the bottom line, which is the highest percentage of the customers. Because we are just ignoring these bottom line customers and we are trying to reach to elite class customers. And where the percentage is very less in comparison to 77%. So I think economics is one area which will give an edge to you as a company if you do a proper economical surveys, a proper economical dimensions, economical scanning of one particular nation, of one particular country, or one particular community. It will be good for you and useful for you. So we have seen that all these 5 areas, right from psychology, sociology, social psychology, anthropology, and the last but not the least is economics. They play a very important role in the consumer behavior process as an interdisciplinary area. I will also share with you that you are going to be the part of organizations after 1 year span of time, or maybe during internship also. When you are opting for consumer behavior, you should know what are the areas open for you for research. So I am going to share with you the areas which are open for you for research, where you can explore more about the consumers and their behavior, and you can study about the consumer behavior also. The first one is ethnographic studies. In ethnographic study is a very common method. It's a very common technique of research which you can apply. And what happens under this particular study? You just study a consumer in a very real life setting without creating any artificial scenario around. You just go in a shopping mall, for example, you have to study a consumer in a shopping mall or the behavior of consumers in the shopping malls. You just go under this ethnographic study, you just go silently observe the actions and movements of the customers, in how many different brand stores he's entering or she is entering, how much time he or she is spending on a one particular window display, how many products or different kind of brands he or she is picking up. And once they move out of the shopping mall, you can see the carry bags in their hands, and you can make out that what kind of taste and temperament that consumer carries. So in ethnographic study, you need to be very objective, you need to be very silent, and you have to maintain confidentiality in that way also. That's why this research is also misused, because at times you enter into the personal circle of customer, which customers never likes, because they are the king. They'll not give you authentic information once you enter into the personal circle of the customer. So ethnographic, I said, this is one of the most useful method, but at times misused also, right? So that thing you have to keep in mind, that you should not disturb the customer while getting into this kind of study or method. This is one most important and commonly used method. In-store observation, this is another one, which is again observation method. You just go in a store and just see under what circumstances a customer is, leaving from one shopping window to another shopping window, and how many times he or she is spending at one particular store. So all these things will be there. But the difference between these two will be, there in-store observation, maybe at times you can go and meet the customer also, you can talk to them also, but in ethnographic research, it is better silently observe the actions of the customer, right? So these have two different perspectives of the research methods. And the next one is quantitative surveys, and quantitative surveys are very much useful to you if you want to study the attitudes and behaviors of the customers, right? What are the different attitudes of the customers, what are the different temperaments of the customers, and if you want to get into the attitudinal studies, this is one of the most commonly used methods, that is quantitative surveys. And focus group and consumer panels, these are very commonly used. It can be a telephonic, it can be a video conferencing, it can be one-to-one, it can be face-to-face, right? So these are some of the customer research areas for you where you can go for. And last but not the least, I would like to share with you that 95% of the CEOs from McKinsey company, they went for a particular research and they surveyed the global companies, almost I think 150 global companies they surveyed, and they came to know, and what was the finding of that particular survey? The finding was that the expectation of the consumer is very different today what it was 4 years ago, right? So in that way, it is going to be a challenge for the companies that how they have to meet the expectations of the customer day after day, year after year. So in that way, McKinsey suggested these companies which were taken under survey, for the survey, they said that you should be mentally prepared and you should actually open 2 marketing departments. One is upsizing and other is downsizing, right? You can see from here they advised for the 2 marketing departments. One is upsized and other is downsized departments. So what they said, under upsized department, what is the role of upsized department? The upside department of the marketing will take care of the products which are going to be launched 5 years ahead, right? And downsized department or downstream marketing department, they are supposed to take care of the existing products and their features and their innovations. So this was the difference. So that's why they said that it is more budget oriented for you, but you cannot sustain if you don't have these 2 departments with you. One is the upstream department, which will take care of their 5 years ahead products, and the existing is the downstream department, which will take care of your existing product lines and their profitability and their innovations and all their customer satisfactions. So these were the advices given to all these global companies after that particular survey. I would also like to share with you that, what was the old philosophy of business? Whatever is good for business is good for customer. But it will not work today, because when you see the latest trends of consumer behavior and the various challenges we are handling in terms of their consumer perception, their attitudes, their behaviors, as I shared with you that Air India case, right? So they are highly unpredictable. So in that case, your old philosophy will not work. So the new philosophy says that whatever is good for customer is good for business. So we need to transform our businesses from old philosophy to new philosophy. Only then we'll be able to sustain. Till now, do you have any question, please? Yeah? Now, we'll continue for that consumer as a decision maker after a short break. Thank you so much for patience listening. Thank you.